strong-arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making Orca fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. Orcas all say, don't come for me. Midler's boots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk Orca game. Orca King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Danny and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show. They're the apex predators.
Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod, the Apex Predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. Here we are with the fifth exciting episode of Melbourne Survivor Uncharted Waters, episode 5. It was not that eventful, but I am sure us Orcas will have something to say as we always do. Now, if you're here live in the comments, make sure to give us your info. With 4 Orcas tonight, I can do the sort of little comments here. We'll get your comments up live as we get all the content from our fabulous Orcas. And so without further ado, let me bring in our panel for this evening. Bringing in first, none of these people really need any introduction, but I'll just say the man that needs no introduction, the bounty hunter himself, the Orca from Backyard Survivor 5. Let's all welcome Marc.
Hi everyone.
Welcome, Marc. How are you? You're on school holidays and fancy free?
No, I'm not. I'm still at school actually. We've got one more day. But one of my students gifted me a bottle of bubbles, so I'm already celebrating.
It's weird the students are now already 18, but I guess that's the way of these young...
Oh no, this was a 14-year-old. I just taught her well.
What? Well, is it champagne? Is it French or is it Australian?
Oh, it's cheap Australian. Actually, she gave me beer, but I traded it with a colleague who has a lot more masculine energy than me. Thank you, Grace, for taking the trade.
Okay, thank you, Grace. And also for the 14-year-olds, French only, please, for our Orcas. None of this cheap stuff. Bringing in, she also needs no introduction. No one's needs an introduction, but she gets one nonetheless. Coming all the way from the other side of, not really the world, what is that piece of ocean called? Are you a geography teacher? Any ideas?
Hey, sorry. No, I don't know geography or math. I only know words.
I normally know geography. And coming us across that piece of water that's between Australia and Papua New Guinea, let's welcome the Orca of Canberra versus the world, Loz. Welcome.
The Pacific Ocean.
No, surely the strait between the two countries has its own
piece of water.
No, surely the area between Australia and Papua New Guinea has its own name, right?
We're in the Pacific Ocean. We literally are just in the Pacific Ocean.
There's a strait.
It's fine. It's no big deal. And Marc, I didn't know that it was Bubbles Night. You should have given me a heads up.
Loz, it's always Bubbles Night.
Well,
I'm going to look this up. I'm looking it up. I'm sure there's a piece of water. It's called the Arafura Sea, apparently. There you go.
CK just wants to name everything.
It's called something. It has a name. Things have names. Okay, and now let's bring in it's a four Orca pack tonight. We don't always get the full pod on the Orca show, but because Josh comes and goes as he pleases, but he has chosen to please us with his presence tonight. Without further ado, let's welcome the Orca of Backyard 4. He campaigned for it, he won it, and now he gets to entertain you. Let's welcome Josh.
Hello. I'm looking trash. I'm feeling trash. I've been up at 3 a.m. the past 2 days, but I am a people pleaser. Ask all the straight boys in my high school. yeah, here I am, ready for a good Orcapod.
Well, it wasn't the most spectacular episode, but that's what happens when we have such a great one in the prior episode, and we saw a position where the numbers were very one-sided. We had a scenario where they went to battle, Tortuga and Nassau, and 3-3 it was, and it becomes 3-2, and then once the challenge was done, I think it was pretty clear that one of the boys from the original Nassau was going to go. Marc, were you surprised that it ended up being Adam over Chris?
I was surprised at the level of like challenge delusion that was going on. It was like we lost just because of chance, and I was like, "Girl, you had two people that could climb. It's more than just a game of chance at that point." But rooting for that. I'm just glad that KK got her way. Finally, in this tribe of like strong personalities, I am so glad that KK got what she wanted.
And why do you think KK wanted Chris to stay? Was it just the connection from their shared heritage, or do you think she sees an advantage in working with
the Pinoy connection? I'm obsessed with that. Love that for them. I think it's good that KK now gets like a number one on the side that is more loyal to her than to other people. I just think that like if Adam was in the game, KK was just gonna like fall behind the curtain of people that are more strategically intense than she is. But now she gets like her own little person to work with and strategize with and kind of be on the same page with, which I think is really cool for her.
Well, the person who didn't get their way in this episode was Mars, who seemed quite keen to keep his little boy toy Adam around, who was, working hard on that relationship. And Mars thought was going to be of a physical shield for Mars. I'm not sure if anyone's really a physical shield for Mars, but he thought Adam was going to be that. How did you feel about how Mars played this round?
It was an interesting outcome because I thought there were three very different dynamics that came into play in keeping Chris and dropping Adam. And one, I think, was KK. And I think one of the comments made was that KK is leaning more towards the friendly side of the game, which I think is why she leaned towards Chris. That friendship aspect that Adam wasn't offering. You've got Jules offering the Boston Rob, if you save Amber, I'll take care of you. If you save Chris, I'll, work with you in the future. That pressure on Ash. And you had Mars in the middle, who can probably see that clearer picture that Adam's absolutely a better number for him. But you've got the two girls who were pretty staunch on it, and in the end, Mars had to bend. And it's an interesting way that power dynamic played out, given how it's played up to this point.
Talk to me a bit more about that one, Josh. How much influence did Jules really have on this outcome? She already in the prior episode was able to strong arm Ash into agreeing to a deal where they gave each other their number ones. And now she's giving the orders to Ash in Uncharted Waters about who should be saved.
Yeah, I really like that. I love seeing Jules and Ash have that little connection. And yeah, I loved like the whole dynamic, how, it seemed like it was Mars versus KK, and then Ash was in the middle. Ash was talking a lot that like it seemed like she was very pro keeping Adam towards the start of the episode, and it sort of to me seemed like a narrative of her getting convinced as time went on, and then she went from being like, oh, I have this connection from is it from an org or pre-game or something with Adam, and then it ended up being like, no, I'm for the girls, the gays, and the theys. And then Chris was, but I don't credit like KK and Ash for it all, because I played amazingly socially and kept pushing that I'm with you girls, and really played up that submissive character, which he's been playing the whole season. And he was amazing. And every episode, I keep saying he's surprising me. So I was very, very impressed. And Chris deserves the credit too. But I know you want to name your org, CK. Come on. The iconic org that we all were in. Is it the same one?
No. They're not from this org. Adam and Ash were just both in the Melbourne community before they were in this season. They know each other quite well. Adam was, of course, as we mentioned, alternate for Melbourne 3. Ash has been around the Melbourne community for a long time. Ash was an alternate here, last minute alternate. So we didn't deliberately intend to put two people who know each other so well on a season together, but it was just the consequences of casting. And so, Ash is really dealing with a real relationship she has here outside of the game and how to manage that in the context of this boot. And I'm sure Adam would have been playing that up to some extent in terms of, the fact that this is a real relationship, not someone he met a couple of minutes ago. So as we've talked about, we've got a couple of key players in this. Chris saving his own skin. We've got Mars not getting his way. We've got KK wanting to keep the bond she's forming with, and they have played a trial together. Thank you, Ash. KK the bond she's forming with Chris. And we've got Jules taking some attempt to encourage Ash to save Chris. Do we think, did Adam do enough to save himself? Could Adam have done anything, Mark, do you think, get him through this situation?
I don't know. I think Adam was bad for Ash's game long term. I think there's more likely a reality where he leverages his knowledge of the true Ash against her more than he uses it to form a deeper bond. I don't really know what he could have done this round in order to win over KK or Ash. I think he needed to show more loyalty earlier. I think if he played last round differently and potentially flipped then, Ash and Mars would have felt more secure moving forward with him despite KK's request.
And Loz, you tell me, do you think that this group of three made the right decision? I know you're a huge person who's loves the challenges as well as she much loves the social and strategic game. Marc made some comments that this tribe is in challenge delusion about their ability to perform. And we all love Shelley. I don't think Shelley was make or break for this challenge, but is taking Adam out here potentially a really poor choice, or does it not matter strategically for those original three Tortugas?
I think it's irrelevant because I think Emerge is coming. They've got another number that's an easy vote out up their sleeve. And Chris, if it comes to that, he's a good number if they end up keeping him, and he's a disposable number if they lose again. And if they do, there'll be Emerge after that. And then strength in challenges is not going to, it'll have its bearing, but it's not going to matter from a tribe perspective. So yeah, I think it's irrelevant now. Take out who you think is going to be better at Merge.
Can I dig into that numbers wise? Why, we've had 5 episodes. We've had in those 5 episodes 6 boots. Am I calculating that right? Yes. So we're going to be at 10 next week. When do people think that the Merge is coming? Josh.
Yeah, well, it's got to be at either 10 or 9 because you'd want a final 3 and a jury of 7, or like a final 2 and a jury of 8, or at the smallest a final 2 and a jury of 7. So it's got to be either next week or the week after, or maybe next week could be like a double boot or something. I don't know.
I don't think we've had a lot of final 2s in the LRGs other than Marc's season. Correct me if I'm wrong if there's another final 2. Brisbane, but it starts with 10, so I'm not really counting that. Because generally it's difficult logistically to get that many boots lined up. But I guess the only final question about this, and people have, unless people want to talk about this vote, the idol, Chris's idol, Jules' idol? Whose idol is it? Did you guys expect there to be an attempt to pass that through, seeing that Shelley had gone? No, Loz is shaking her head profusely. So is Mark.
Not a chance. I mean, what you couldn't. Jules and Danny, for better or for worse, and for whatever they're trying to cook over at Nassau, are still a minority over there in a big way. And that was Jules's idol the moment it walked into her hand. So there was no doubt in my mind that was not going to get, any attempt was going to get made on her part to hand it over.
All I'm going to say is we know that Jules has very strong fingers, very, very strong fingers, and that idol is not leaving that iron claw.
You don't think there's a chance she looks to hand it off next week?
No, not really. The one thing I have to say about this tribe before we move on from the dynamic is I really am enjoying like the spy versus spy intricacies of Ash and Mars's conversations. And every time they see each other talk to someone else, they have a confessional where they're like, Mars is revealing something else, like the curtains behind his eyes are opening and you're seeing the wheels turning, and there's like another layer that I didn't see last round. And that's spooking Ash. And then Mars is watching Ash play to other players, and he's like, she's holding her hand but playing another one that I'm not seeing. So I really would have liked, like, if we had one more guaranteed week in this tribe, if they were to flip on each other, it then brings it to like a 2-2. So I think like the pressure of the merge is like stopping these two from really going at it. I think if there was one more round before merge that was kind of guaranteed, we might have seen Ash or Mars take the shot. But I'm wondering if they misplayed by not taking it, by banking on next round being a merge.
Do you think people were banking on the next round being a merge? Was there discussions about that I missed?
I didn't hear it in the episode, but like logically it would make sense that 10 is the merge, and I think that like it just would have been great to have seen one of them take the other out before merge.
I'll give a couple of points from the strategy here before we circle back to the start of the episode. I think you mentioned this before, Mark, but Chris's work on Ash and KK, I think you mentioned this as well, Josh, about connecting with them, playing down his threat level like he's been doing all game, was absolutely elite, particularly with Ash, who ultimately had the decision on who was going. And I think Ash made the right decision because, as you said, Mark, perhaps Mars and Ash are heading for a clash. And, Adam was lining himself up to be more Mars's guy than he was to be Ash's, even though she and Ash had a pre-existing connection. But I thought Chris did an incredible job at selling why he should be kept in the game. And I found it really interesting that while he's selling that to KK and Ash, Mars has actually clocked, one of the few people in the game, how good Chris actually is at the game. He comes across so unthreatening and unassuming. But when you see, as we have on the show, that he's actually, that's all a veneer, and he's very crafty behind that and very savvy and knows exactly what he's doing. Mars clocking that, you got to give him props to that, because not many people have clocked, how savvy of a player Chris is. Did anyone have anything else from the, for lack of a better term, strat chat that occurred before they booted Adam?
Yeah, I have something. And I know we probably have Adam watching and waiting to come in, but I have to say, I do think the girls made the right decision. Like, he never sort of seemed to me like, if I was in the game seeing what the other players are seeing, I just wouldn't trust him fully. Like, I don't know. He seems like someone who would maybe flip-flop on you, like, and especially like with their tribe so low in numbers. And that's fine, that's Survivor. But I just feel like, I wouldn't have confidence in him to stick with me if I was in the game. Like, he gives me like Parvati's abusive ex-husband vibes from Survivor Samoa, like a Flipper or like a Cochrane in South Pacific. Like, I don't know. something about me feels uneasy if I was in a tight alliance with Adam. I'm sorry, but like, nice guy, but in the game, I don't know. I would feel uncertain. I just got that vibe.
Harsh words from Josh, but those aren't great comparisons. Well, Cochrane's fine, but the other one's not real.
Yeah,
oh my no, sorry, not meaning he's abusive. Sorry, just because I was like, I can't remember his full name. But him as a player, not as
did what he did
a husband.
for like reasons, though. Like,
yeah.
All I was
good
gonna say
reasons.
was like the content we saw on the episodes. I didn't get much like charisma and human nature out of Adam's character. I got a lot of like nervousness around the votes, and I guess that's just part of the narrative of like a tribe that goes to tribal every week. But I think we needed to see some more of like the humanity behind the skepticism.
Yeah.
I think Adam, who's someone I've interacted more with in real life than compared with some of the other people that are in this cast, is even in the group chat that's going on about this season, he's always trying to analyze the situation. He's always trying to apply a lot of logic and pragmatism to those analyses, and that sort of approach doesn't have a lot of humanity to it. In the end of the day, like if you're being quite calculated and analytical, it's not very personable.
But I didn't think that really analytical side came across. So he talked again in this episode, and he said it last time that he thought about throwing the challenge because they had numbers, which they didn't. I mean, 3v3 is not numbers. And
yeah,
then
I'm so confused. So confused
about how, he knew he was getting too cocky. He was on the top and now he's on the bottom. And I don't know where he thought he was on the top. Maybe he felt tight enough with Danny that if Nassau had stayed in its original format and they kept losing, he would have survived a couple more votes. But the moment the tribe swapped, you're not on the top anymore. You're not even, you don't know where your place is. And so the fact that he still really, right up until that vote, thought things were going swimmingly, to me, I didn't see the analytical side kind of playing out, and he definitely didn't have that social game that Chris was able to bring. So
I think something I learned from Tara is just like sometimes you got to be stupid, you got to be silly, you got to just embrace some of the dumb moments, like stealing the ladle from the well in my season. I think Adam was really just missing that kind of like, as I said earlier, like just like humanity and funness. I didn't see much joy. I saw like a lot of like worry. And these games are games, like have some fun while you're playing it. Mars is having the time of his fucking life. Ash is really enjoying being like an evil dementor, like luring people in with kindness. Like, I think these are the people that like succeed because there's more to it than just like getting the right name on the piece of paper at the time.
I will say to that, it's in Ash's case, it's a lot easier, I would presume, on your second time because you're sort of playing with house money. Like, you've already had your shot. Whatever happens, happens. She wants to win. Of course, she didn't win the first time. Everyone wants to win, but you do struggle with that equally. And that stresses you out. It makes it harder to have fun. Tara, when you met her, had played before and not had, crewed a lot of these things. She knows that having fun is a key component. And it's very hard to be that. But look, Danny's defending him. She's defending him twice. Just two of her comments last year defending Adam.
Yeah.
She's like, stop.
Let's give the other side of the story.
Stop laying shit on Adam.
I just want to jump in and just reiterate, like I did say when I started this like comment that like this was what we saw in the edit and it might not naturally be true, right? Like we only get to see the moment that tells the story that needs to be told. We don't see everything. But like a message to anyone watching and anyone wanting to play, have fun while you do it. Because once you start having fun, like it's, I don't know, you just gain some momentum.
Yeah. People want to keep you around. People want to keep you around if you're fun. Like, in the end of the day, people aren't paying for $1 million. And if you're having a good time, like this is, I want to bring it back to myself because why not? Laurel, who, voted out all my allies and who I was, half actively gunning for and accusing of having an idol, decided that she didn't want to vote me out because I chased her when she ran pretending she had an idol and was like, he's too much fun. Like, I don't want to vote him out because like he's too enjoyable to rile up and get some action out of, as opposed to someone who's just, talking strategy and being, paranoid, not super enjoyable. We all want to be having fun.
Yeah, I don't trust people who are having too much fun. Just says to me that you're flaky and you're not taking it seriously. And if you're not taking it seriously, you're not going to be a good ally for me. So I would vote all the fun people out.
Wow.
Isn't Eden a fun person? He's very fun.
Oh, love him.
Eden was not having a lot of fun, at least not during our portion of the game.
He seemed like he was having fun even though he was on the bottom, which is the key point, because a lot of the people you mentioned, Marc, are on the top, and it's easier to have fun when you've got the numbers. Okay, so let's go back to the start of the episode where we go to Nassau and everybody fucking hates Greg. Marc, where were you? You needed to be there to give Greg some support, because fuck, they do not like him over on Nassau. His old tribe, his new tribe, nobody likes Greg.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Fuck Greg. I'm a convert. I'm a band of the church, a band of the chapel.
Oh, you're done with Greg. You're over Greg.
That didn't take me.
I'm obsessed with how much Danny and Jules hate Greg. And I think I just naturally gravitate towards hate more than love. Like, this is a bond welded by fire. At this point, they're not a chain connected to each other. They're a fusion. They are one in each other. I love it. I'm obsessed.
The exact, do people have the quotes? Jules says Greg is arrogant. Danny says Greg just needs to fuck off.
Very Danny. Very Danny.
She also thinks he's an alpha, which
is he an alpha?
Well, I think he's trying to be an alpha.
Yeah.
But he's not good at it.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be an alpha.
Very poorly.
He wouldn't be an alpha if Loz, Danny, and Jules were, in a room alone with him. He would definitely be a peg down.
Well, what do we think about, Greg's obviously ostracizing people on this tribe. He's got some people that were on his original tribe that are, potentially considering moves against him. Does anyone have any commentary on, what Mietta was looking at, what Aaron was looking at? Who wants to go?
I said this last week.
Go, Loz. No, you're Loz.
No, this is what I said last week, is that when we were talking about him telling Jules and Danny that they're next, as if it was showing some sort of solidarity to his old tribe, but he'd done nothing to build any relationship with his old tribe. So now he's making calls without consulting his old tribe and going, you two are next, getting his old tribe offside, getting his new people offside, and standing there in the middle, like all of a sudden telling people what to do is going to be good for your game. Realistically, those three, Mietta, Evan, Aaron, had zero loyalty to him. In fact, Aaron had been actively trying to get rid of him. Maybe you should have been working on Aaron instead of being so quick to think that you had control, that you're telling Danny and Jules you're out next. So I think it played out like I expected that it would. Now everybody's got the shits, and when you got a common enemy, the enemy of my enemy is, my friend now, and maybe Mietta and the rest are back on side with Danny and Jules.
I really wanted to see this tribe go to tribal council this week, because it would have just been an interesting dynamic no matter what the outcome. It's just funny because, like, he obviously was in a position to see Aaron as disposable before the swap. Then the swap happens and he kind of has to, like, lie in the bed that he made and doesn't have anyone else to really have his back when the wolves are circling. So,
but still says that he hasn't bothered speaking to Aaron because he doesn't need him. Greg's words, not mine.
Meanwhile, Danny and Jules. Danny and Jules have figured out that Aaron is potentially on the bottom. What do we think about the efforts they were doing to reel in Aaron? Josh.
Yeah. I think they were trying really hard, and Aaron seemed pretty susceptible to their influence. And also, like, Mieta is someone who doesn't seem to have really thought of the strategy. I think she says that herself. She seems kind of in on it. And I think Danny and Jules are quite, well, taking the same strategy. I would probably correct in saying Mieta would probably jump on board a girls thing. And then we had on the some prior episodes, like Evan is the other person from the original tribe with Greg, and he was wanting to form a duo with Mieta, and we were saying like, oh, he's just kind of going to get left behind because it's that core four of Greg, KK, Mars, and Ash. But now it can be the other three against Greg, and they might team up with Danny and Jules. And I think, yeah, Greg is literally maybe even on the bottom of the tribe, to be honest with you, because like this. He's gone really from the top to the bottom. Like, he's been playing so well, and then this swap has happened, and his game has completely flipped on its head.
I think he's played like in terms of who he's aligned with and why and things like that have gone well, but just managing some of like the social nuances at the 11th hour have gone the wrong way for him. Like, I think he aligned himself with the right people in his original tribe. Like, you can't control who you get swap screwed with. Not that it's a swap scoring, but just the way that he has handled everything post-merge socially has been a little bit of a fumble. And I could see him being in danger come merge because everyone's trying to like consolidate and find new friends and like find a common enemy. And I could really see him being in danger at the merge.
Yeah.
What do people think about, though, the conversation after Aaron's spoken to Jules and Danny? He's speaking to Mieta. He's talking about potentially, a flip on Greg. And Mieta's like, no, I was thinking of voting out Danny, which I thought was an interesting, as you say, where Mieta's head is at the game is not super clear to us as a viewer. And, for her response to Aaron's initial suggestion of a flip on Greg to be Danny or an original Nassau, it somewhat feels like Mieta is more interested in staying strong with the Tortuga, because if she was interested in that, would she not say to Aaron, look, I'm open to that option? Though I think she does say it to us in confessional. So there's a bit of a confusion there with Mieta as to what she's saying to other players versus what she's saying in the game. Loz, as a strong female yourself like Mieta, who's likes a challenge, but probably a bit more savvy with the game, where do you think Mieta's head is at this point?
I don't think Mieta knows where her head is at. I think that's the problem. And she talks about that she's got this social conscience. She feels guilty about things, and nothing's even happened yet to put her in a position where she has to make a difficult decision. They had a cruisy run on Tortuga initially. She's come into a swap with numbers, and she's fretting without any grounds to need to yet. And that's really, those kind of wild card players really scare me, because I don't think she will make her mind up until the last minute. And in the end, I think she'll go with what feels best for her as opposed to what's best for the game. And how do you control that kind of decision making? I think she probably loves the idea of the Danny Jules Girls Alliance, but I think she'll be scared to make that jump. I don't think she trusts the Tortuga people. I think it's very complicated, and I think that's came across that she's very conflicted.
I think Mieta is like, she wants to make the move that makes the least amount of waves. She is correctly recognizing that her original tribe needs to start diversifying their portfolios, showing some like individual agency for a resume. But I don't think she has the killer instinct to be the person to change the course of the game. And I agree with Loz. These wildcard players who will ride the wave that they start the game on and refuse to deviate from there, they scare me so much because they ride to a seat of power without having to make any bold moves and like raise their threat level. And us orcas are like often at players like this as mercy. So yeah, I'm terrified of what damage Mieta can do, but I really want to see her crack the game open because these are the people that hold the keys to the game.
There's nothing worse as an orca than being beholden to some unentertaining chump. This isn't Mieta. To some she's a lovely person. To some unentertaining chump who has no gameplay, no strategy, and it's just cruise their way to the top. And you're trying to beg them for your life, and they're like, "No, you're too big of a personality for me, and you can fuck off." There's nothing.
Yes.
All of us robbed.
But I'm not talking about Mieta. Mieta's not a chump in any way. Mieta's a lovely.
No, I really do like her. I just hope, I pray that she can see the power she's in, and I hope she harnesses it and doesn't give it away to like Mars or someone come merge. Like she really has the power to change the game, because no one is saying a bad word about her. Everyone wants her in the team, and she really has the like what she say will go if she realizes that she can make that definitive word.
Don't forget, she's got an idol as well. Like she's holding an
true.
idol.
Forgot about that. Like imagine if Mieta makes a bold move and picks up, uses an idol, and it's like Mieta uses an idol, then picks up KK, Aaron, Chris, Evan. Like she'd be the queen of the game.
It's a big. They're big moves though when you're already feeling stressed about you've got the numbers in 4 against 2, and you're still not even sure what you'll do there. Like, I don't know. I don't know that she's got it in her. I hope I'm proved wrong, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah,
she's the kind of player who needs to watch her back, realize the state of power she's in at this moment, and then like on a second game, if she wants to play again, I think she'd then have the ability to do it. But yeah, right now, first, I don't think she realizes how much control she could possibly have.
I think also she's the sort of player that if she teamed up or has at this point teamed up with a more strategic player that really knows the game, who's coming up with maybe some exciting moves, then she might get on board with those moves. I think she's just looking for some guidance. If she teamed up with Danny's like, these are the moves we can make, I think she'd get on board with that. I just don't think she's in a position, and not being a huge fan of the show herself, to really know what's even on the table. Like she's a clean slate with no real knowledge of what you can do in a Survivor game, what's available to do. And I know we've got someone like Hannah who'd also not watched much Survivor, and she played like she knew everything about the game. On the other hand, we have Mieta who's playing like someone who's never watched the show. Did you guys have any more comments about this pre-challenge era from Tortuga or from Nassau? As like a night. The challenge.
It's starting to feel really unbalanced, and this was what I had sort of thought right when we were drafting. Was there just seems to be these big players, big personalities, alphas, strategic. A few of them have played before, who are kind of driving, and then you've got everyone else who's sort of playing such a passive game, and it feels unbalanced to me, and I can't explain exactly why, but like Danny and Jules driving this strategy, and the others sort of going, oh, I don't really know how I feel about it, and maybe we're okay, maybe we're not. And even on the other side, Mars and Ash playing this game, and KK going, well, I know how you feel, Ash, and I can see both sides of it, and I totally understand that. And
I'm still with you, even if you get rid of don't do what I say.
Yeah, like it's just starting to feel like there's just two very, very different games being played, and I don't know how they're going to converge at a merge. Because I just feel like it's going to be a slaughterhouse.
On whom? Who's going to be slaughtered? Who's slaughtering?
Yeah, like it's going to be sad.
I think some of our more passive players, our type Bs, are just they're just going to be picked off easily because they'll be okay with it almost. Like they're not going to make the moves that need to be made to change the game up. I mean, if they merge and Ash and Danny and Jules and Mars pull it together with Chris, I mean, the others are all cooked.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
on the other
And then
side, it could flip the other way, and the passive ones decide, oh, let's take out Danny, Jules,
well, that's what I'm saying.
Ash, and Mars,
I
and
don't
then
see
it's
it
like,
happening.
oh, it's like lovely
don't see-
people, but it's not the most engaging players at the end, and then one of them gets the crown that we wish they had. But sorry to cut you off.
What they should do. It's what that alliance of minnows should do if they can recognize that that's the best
Absolutely.
winning game.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I don't know.
All right, so challenge. I thought it was a bit fun and unique. Using that climbing wall in an interesting way. Bit of luck with the rock, scissors, paper. I don't think that Tortuga had any chance really with the sort of lineup that they had. I thought it was interesting. Uncharted Waters turned out to be
fun.
Yeah,
I liked how they used that environment in a creative way. Like, you don't look at that wall and go horizontal tug of war using rock, paper, scissors. I thought that was creative. I thought that was fun. I really liked that concept.
I'm sure Brady is very appreciative of your kind words. No, it was a cool idea. I didn't actually see it in the real time, but it was a cool challenge. Uncharted Waters ended up being a bit of a fizzle this week as well, with no advantage found. Don't at me. I can't remember if there is an advantage or not, or if there's now 2 advantages next week. I can't remember. I don't know if we didn't have an advantage this week, just so that, people didn't always assume there was one. I don't know what silly games we were playing with these advantages. Apologies for that. I cannot recall. But it did fizzle out the episode a little bit, though. I did enjoy the moment with Jules and Ash. That's probably like everything I've got for the episode. After such a high point last week with the swap and the advantage play, which was an incredible moment. This was a more subdued episode. Do you guys have anything from the episode that you want to bring up before we bring in Adam? Mark, you first.
I feel like I'm out of unique points at this point. I'm not a stan of Uncharted Waters. I think it needs a little bit more time in the oven. It has potential, but just things like, has everyone who's been voted out gone to Uncharted Waters that same episode, sans Adam? And even then, Chris and Adam just gave up their chance because they knew that they were cooked, and they were like, I don't want to make you suspicious of me. I don't know. I don't think it's giving more to the game than it's taking away at this point.
I actually thought that was a really cool move by Chris. Chris had a way of showing that he was loyal to that group by not going when he could go. He had an option to go. He's like, I'm not going to go there and look for advantages. I'm voting with you guys against Adam. It was an opportunity to use the mechanic. I wouldn't say it's the most highest selling point, but he sold it that way.
And he's a sub bottom, and he's okay doing that. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I don't think it. All it shows is that you're desperate.
Yeah, don't love it.
It shows loyalty. At that point, does it show loyalty or desperation? I don't know. I agree with Mark. I don't know. Uncharted Waters is just. I'm just not sure what it's adding strategically, other than bringing together opposing tribes to have conversations that could influence the game. And so what the Ash Jules conversation, that's what I took sort of out of it as being the game-changing point. Because the rest of we spent a lot of time flipping back and forth. Is it going to be Chris? Is it going to be Adam? It was 15 minutes of it. And honestly, by that point, who cares? Let's just go to tribal.
Just go to vote. I'd love to see there be a dilemma that both groups have to make together, or something like that, or a surprise challenge at the Uncharted Waters where all 4 of them participate for something and someone's guaranteed. I don't know. There needed to be one more step to the concept. I like the idea of people going away on a journey. Just make it have some kind of meaning, and I think we could do better with that. But love you, Liz.
It should have been it should have been the summit on your season. That had a lot more into gossiping. You could kind of barter and wager for advantages. Something like that may have been more effective, but
Chris got called an emotional manipulator. I successfully emotionally manipulated 2 people to give me an advantage. I want to see those moments. I want to see a little bit more payoff for my time investment.
Well, he's been waiting in the backstage for his time investment, his chance to come on and speak about his game. Was he a paranoid mess or a strategic mastermind, coming all the way from being the alternate for playing with fire, arriving on Uncharted Waters, building relationships, being paranoid about who voted for Hannah when they shouldn't have, to working his way in with Danny, to being swapped, to being on top, to thinking about throwing, to realizing that maybe that shouldn't have been what he did, to ultimately getting booted. He's had an incredible journey over these 5 episodes. I'm going to drop out so the 3 orcas can have their way with the vote. They don't have too many people on the screen. So I will remove, and we will do the drum roll and welcome our guest.
Hey. I'm sorry, my apologies. Paranoid mess. It's really good to meet you in person.
Good to meet you all. I've heard a lot about Josh. Mark, I've seen you before. Loz, I haven't seen your season. But I've heard everything you've said. I don't think there's been one good comment made about me, but really good.
You know, deep down, I love everybody. I don't always know how to show it. Sometimes the things that come out of my mouth aren't the things that I'm really feeling.
I'm analytical. I'm not a critic. All right, that's how I live my life.
No, it's fair to say your points. I agree with a lot of it, but I'm also here to say my perspective as well in my game. So yeah.
I would love, because I do think, you know, we only saw like a certain portrayal from the edit, so we can only go off that. Like, do you think our perception of you was wrong? Like Danny mentioned in the comments that you had really fun times and showed that like more humorous side and lighter side, whereas that we didn't see that in the edit. So yeah, what do you think about that? Like, let us know.
No, being social is definitely not my strong point. I would say I'm not really a social player. I'm quite serious. I am quite nervous. That's me. That's my personality. That's who I am. I am a very strategic person, so I'm quite analytical. And yeah, I mean, I knew that was going to be an issue for me coming in. So that's just an uphill battle for me. So so that I think that's, I mean, I try my best to kind of just go with the flow and just kind of be out there, just kind of having a good time as best I could. But I can't fake a person that I'm not. So yeah, that's just me.
One thing I found interesting was you had a lot of, as it's been mentioned, paranoia, but I never saw you act on that paranoia. It was like, I'm not feeling good about this relationship or this, but you still went with the group consensus. So is there a reason for that?
Yeah.
Or
so
on reflection, like how do you,
Yeah, so the 5 people that ended up at Nassau, we all voted together in all 3 pre-merge, pre-swap votes. So all 3 votes were the same. I voted with Jules all 3 times, despite us having that bit of conflict. So from my perspective, the Nassau tribe at the beginning didn't really break off and do much strategic chats. So with the other tribe, as soon as the 4 broke off to Uncharted Waters and the other 4 came to the camp at the beginning, they didn't have any flint. So all they had to do was just sit there and talk. We had our flint because we won that first challenge, which means that everyone was just around the fire trying to start it. And that was almost distracting from anyone from going off and actually talking about game. It was just about starting the fire. So that whole night, up until the first challenge, I don't think anyone split off and talked strategy. So when we went to that first challenge, I was standing there and we had nothing to do but time. I had Shelley and Byron on my right, and I had Chris and Danny on my left. And after that was Hannah just pretty much blocking the other 2, Xavier and Jules, just blocking them. So they couldn't really see what we were talking about. And I used that opportunity to kind of whisper on my right, whisper on my left, and just lock in a 5-person alliance at the challenge. So after we kind of discussed that secretly at the challenge, I was quite kind of happy. I was like, okay, there's a 5-person, it's the majority, don't really need to stress again until the next vote that morning. So from my perspective, that was the only alliance from a group perspective that I saw, because no one else was breaking off. And what actually happened was the next morning, like Danny said, no one actually strategized that night. What happened the next morning, me and Byron slept in, and I woke up and I saw people were already up and chatting. I was like, oh my God, I slept in. I was so tired coming to the game. So I slept that night, and what had happened, there was a 4-person alliance that had been created that morning, and Jules, Danny, Chris, and Shelley. And I had no idea about that the whole game. So that happened that morning, but I didn't know about that. So every vote going forward, to my perspective, I didn't care who went home, as long as it wasn't the 5. If it was Jules, Xavier, Hannah, it didn't really matter to me. So to me, it was a clear-cut 5. So whenever Jules started getting defended, so the vote that it was between Hannah and Jules. Whenever Danny was kind of pushing for Jules to be saved, I kind of started getting like, like, why is she protecting her? But I could see them getting kind of like getting close, but I was like, okay, well, someone has to go anyway, so Hannah would go. She actually threw my name out. I was like, that's disappointing, but Hannah has to go, then she has to go. But then the round after, when Byron name came up, that's when I was starting to kind of really trick my head. It's like, why is this 5-person alliance starting to crack already? We don't have, Jules isn't in the group, so why is she still around? So, and then while Danny had the relationship with him, I kind of really left it up to Shelley and Chris to go, this is a 5-person thing, so who do you actually want to keep, Jules or Byron? And Shelley said, I'd rather keep Jules. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to fight this pre-swap, pre-merge. Let's just go with the group, and then voted Jules out. But I did feel a bit deflated after that, going, my game has passed me by, because Byron was one of my closest allies, I'd say, and I let him go without really pushing back. But in hindsight, that was a good thing, because I wasn't in that 4-person alliance. So if I pushed back, I could have got squeezed out at that point instead of Byron. So I think it went well. I didn't want to make any big moves pre-swap, and I was still voting with the core, but I just didn't realize Jules was in a core that she was insulated, and I didn't realize she was. So that was what was freaking me out, because it should have been very clean cut. Sorry for that long.
Can I take you then to the swap? So talk me through, the swap happens, you end up on the new Tortuga, you're looking at your numbers. Talk me through what you were thinking at that point, how you were going to move forward.
Okay. So normally when a swap happens, people pick who they want, right? This time we were saying you have to go to the other tribe. So I said, this is very random. We're going to end up with like random groups of people in each tribe, right? Because you're not picking who you want. You just get picked. You get put on tribes by random, by who someone doesn't want on their tribe. So when I saw it was 3 versus 3, I was like, Shelley and Chris, I felt the safest with them the whole game up to that point, because Danny was starting to kind of really like make me nervous. So I was like, these two are close. I voted with them 3 times in a row. What are the chances the other 3, they've been to 1 tribal council, what are the chances that those 3 are going to be tied? Well, it's really low odds. They're not going to be tighter than us 3, but they were. So I didn't know that. I was like, that's a good mix, right? So it's 3 versus 3, and then it's 4 versus 2, right? So I thought, if we just go to rocks, they're more likely to break up than us, because we've been tested our alliance. Like Mars, Ash, I'm like, I know Ash, and she plays a game that she's willing to change sides quite a bit. So I was like, she won't go to rocks. So, well, if there's anyone who's going to go to rocks, it'd probably be her. So, and I had a relationship with her, so I felt good, because I knew like I probably wouldn't get targeted. Mars I felt good about, so I thought that he wouldn't target me. So I just felt really good. And I thought that if we can lose the next 2 challenges, vote out Mars, vote out Ash, to get out 2 really good players out of the game, we go on to merge 5 with Jules and Danny, 5 versus 5. We've all voted together. They haven't barely gone to tribal council. We'll be able to get the upper hand going forward. And I thought that was my way to get to the final 5, and then hopefully go to the end with Shelley and Jules. That was what my plan was. Couldn't execute it, because like if you go back to what had happened, is those 3 were really well aligned, which I couldn't predict that was going to happen. they had an extra vote. An extra vote has never worked in the history of Survivor like properly up until that point. There's never been a 3 versus 3 with an extra vote causing a 4 versus 3. So it wasn't going through my brain because I was just playing the percentages. And then also, well, what happened with I guess, so that's why I was willing to go to Rocks, because I thought we had the stronger alliance, and if this worked, it was going to change the game. We'd be up 3-2. We could vote them out again, and we'd go in 5-5. So that was how I was feeling. And I had the 2 people on the other tribe, Ash and Mars. I felt good about them. That's why I was feeling in a good position at that point.
Just quickly.
No, that's awesome. I loved that. That I get it. The way you just explained it, that's what we don't see in the edit. The way I just saw how your brain was working, it makes perfect sense. I can totally do those numbers and go, yep, that'll work. I thought that was awesome.
I can
but
see
my personality,
the
it doesn't come across. That's the thing. Like, I don't have that like social, like I can't just chill. I just have that really kind of intense nervousness. Even when I'm speaking to you now, I'm kind of feeling nervous. So that's just me as a person. So
my question is, why did you vote KK as the target for the 3-on-3?
Okay.
Like, yeah, why KK? Because
Good question.
No. It
you
was
obviously
Mars.
knew. No, so yeah, why Mars? Sorry, why Mars?
Yeah.
Like, you obviously know that Mars becomes immune and isn't at risk of being voted out. Whereas he seems to me the most likely to want to save his own skin and jump ship, right? So yeah, why was Mars the one that you voted in?
Yeah.
Instead of KK.
So we were trying to put pressure on one of them to flip. So we all tried to talk to each person. When I spoke to Mars and said, we're not flipping, we're not going to go down 4-7. Like, we are going to Rocks. And then after that whole discussion, his response to me was, I think we're going to go to Rocks. So pretty much he black and white said to me, like, this is the conversation is we're going to Rocks as well. So I was like, okay, he's not flipping. So I'm like, okay, so let's just, if he's not flipping, then maybe Christelle, maybe Ash will flip. So that's the reason why we did that. While I was in the tribal council, I saw KK start talking, and then she almost started talking like, oh, you know, it's going to be fate. If I draw a rock, I draw rocks. And I was like, I think maybe she's not going to flip. So then I whisper over to Chris, it's in the edit, and I was started going, like, maybe we should vote Christelle, because Mars and Ash, who really want to play this game and win, they're not going to go to Rocks for Christelle, who's like a casual, right? They're not going to risk their game, a 1-in-4 shot, for her to stay in the game. But at that point, it's just too hard to change the vote. And I could have just whispered to Chris and Shelley to change it, but I was like, I just didn't want to confuse it. I was like, just vote for Mars. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I still kind of thought maybe Ash would still flip, maybe Christelle will flip. But that was actually one of my regrets out of the game. I was like, I should have actually changed it to Christelle, even though it wouldn't have mattered. That is actually one regret that I wish I actually made that in the moment and we changed to Christelle.
I think it's just like
I agree with you.
Point. Like, it was min-maxing because the vote was in play anyway, so it wouldn't have eventuated to anything. But like, yeah, just take away from that. Like, there's always like one more layer to who you pick, I guess.
Yeah.
I had a question, but I'm losing it. You really wanted to know who voted for Hannah. If you got an answer, what would you have done with that information?
If Byron told me he voted for Hannah, I would have just let it go because I trusted Byron. But again, there was a 5-person alliance. Hannah couldn't have voted for herself. Xavier voted for Hannah, so it was either Jules or someone in the 5-person alliance. So if we have an alliance, why can't you just tell me? Because
Were you praying it was Jules so you could like?
I was hoping it was Jules because then I would have been comfortable. But the fact that no one fessed up to it, it was just like, we're building, there's no trust. Like, we're just trying to create trust here. And I know Hannah's not in our alliance, but if you can just say it and then everyone would be comfortable and then we move on. But Byron didn't. So I'm quite, I mean, it didn't really matter, but it probably made me more skeptical of what was going on. But yeah, it's okay.
So just talk me through, because in your strategy that you saw moving forward, your final 3 was you, Shelley, and Jules.
Mm-hmm. No, and me, Shelley, and Chris.
Oh, you, Shelley, and Chris. No, like you just said in your final 3, if you all got through the merge and you made it all to the end. Mm-hmm. So who were you seeing as your final 3? You, Shelley, and Chris?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I might have misheard you.
Yeah, Chris. I really understated. I underestimated Chris during the game. Like, I didn't realize he was that strategic. And I actually didn't, and this is probably my social game, I didn't really have a lot of chats with people in my alliance. I was just kind of just like I'm someone who's like, if there's an alliance, I feel like that everyone there is going to trust each other and we don't have to keep on having more conversation because we just know we're going to vote together. So I just didn't really talk to him a lot. And then I didn't realize how strategic he was. That vote, that the 3-3 swap is when he really lifted his voice and started talking strategy on how we're going to play this. And I was like, wow, Chris, like where'd this come from? But obviously he was doing that in the shadows. It just wasn't something that I saw. So he probably, who knows what happens after merge. If I was with him, his social game was a lot better than mine. So maybe that was the wrong call going with Chris, but I don't know who else I would be able to beat because Danny was out in front and I wanted her to be out in front. So there's no way I was going to take Danny to the end, even though I did want to work with her. So
I have a question. So I know, you've been around for a long time. I think I saw you commenting when my season was on many moons ago.
Okay.
I know you're friends with my Birak brother, Matt C, and like you're friends with Tara and stuff. And you've been around a while, probably in orgs and stuff too. So I'm wondering, like, did you get any advice from these people, these iconic players before you played? And do you think maybe like talking to these people may have played into the paranoia and like the hype that you may have had a little bit? Because, I know like, I don't know. I know when some people play, they're hearing so much info and trying to do too much that you're not living in the moment and you can get in your own head. Do you think that? Yeah, I don't know. How did you go with that?
If anything, they convinced me to apply because I've never been someone who's applied for Australian Survivor, been interested in applying for Australian Survivor, even didn't want to apply for. I did apply for Melbourne Survivor. I didn't even want to go on because I don't see myself as a TV character. I see myself as like I like to watch the show and analyze the show. So I didn't want to be boring on the show. So I was just they were convincing me to just give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? So it was actually interesting hearing your feedback on my cast video because that's actually how I see myself. So saying that I was like boring. So it's kind of like feedback from someone who's never seen me before and how I would be. So it's validating that I shouldn't apply because that's how the people are going to view me. So, I mean, it's only 2 people's comments, so that's fine. But that's kind of like, it was kind of interesting watching that. But I do have, so Josh, but I am in my own head. I was kind of fell in love with Survivor before the show started, but then I knew before this season, but I knew I was playing. So then I had to kind of get myself hyped up again. So I started doing some watching some 3D videos and stuff and taking notes. I started writing down things to do in the game, things not to do. So I did all that stuff. I mean, I am in my head. I try not to be. I do over analyze things, but I think I did my best out there to be quite chilled. A lot of the stuff is just in my head and it's in the confessionals, right? But I'm not really like that when I'm talking to people in real life. In the game, I'll just be like more just like, how you going? Just chilled, kind of not really discussing strategy that much. And this is just more kind of kept for like inside and for confessionals. So
Adam, I'm here to validate you a little bit. You had a horror run of this game. You lost every challenge, went to every tribal council, you slept in on morning 1, the wheels you put in motion, then ran away from you a little bit, and you still managed to have loyalty in Danny, the most threatening person in the game. You then got swapped into a 3-3. Like, you didn't have a strong run, and we're anticipating merge any moment. Once merge hits, you could have catapulted really far into the game. So, like, I don't want you to think that, like, all of your insecurities are true because, like, you were very close to greatness. You just had a horrific run and got outmaneuvered by someone who was really set up to succeed in the 2 versus 3 vote.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I didn't see you as paranoid. I didn't see the paranoid side. I was confused sometimes about what you were thinking because we didn't get to hear you spell it out the way you just did to us then, but I didn't see you as paranoid. And had you not got screwed in that swap with the extra vote, had it gone to Rocks, would have been a very, very different outcome. It might not have been the outcome that you were
you could have lost,
planning
Rocks,
for,
right? Yeah.
But I think it would have been a very different outcome. So, and that's the problem with the game is that you can have the strategy, it can be correct. You can have the read on how it might play out, and then a twist or an advantage.
Yeah.
You know, Cook, are you doing anything to cause that? So I didn't see you as paranoid. I just didn't understand all the time what you were thinking.
Sure.
What else I would say is that you're not boring, and you're not boring on this. You know, I'm in a number of group chats with you, and you're actually, it sort of verges sometimes on shit stirring. You're incredibly argumentative about it, but I often don't know if you actually particularly care about the arguments you're making. You're just trying to create the arguments for the sake of the debate, and so the debate can then occur. You know, you say, this is a thought, this is what I think, but what do people think about that? And then people are like, I hate that, and you'll go fight it. Or if they go, I don't know. And that is what you were actually doing with yourself the whole time in the game, running through your strategy about what you were doing on the first day in the first rounds, what you're doing on the 3-3. I think the only thing you weren't able to give us, and it's very hard to be like, do this while you're playing for the first time. But if we had those thought processes, those straw man arguments with yourself in confessional about what is the optimal strategy, that would have been incredibly entertaining. So I don't think you're a boring person at all. It's just, and I think a lot of people that are entertaining people end up being a bit more boring sometimes on these shows because of the pressure cooker situation and the lack of time. If you're out there on a game that went for 20 days and you had time to sit around and think about things more, then again, that interesting side of yourself where you really like to pressure cook a social scenario, pressure cook a strategic discussion, or just a debate is really fascinating. And so I don't think you're boring. I just think that part of your personality only went on in your head instead of in front of the camera.
I don't think you're boring either. I don't.
Yeah.
I just didn't have anything else to go off except your video.
No, it's all right. It's interesting
found
at the same time is because you don't know me and I've never spoken to you guys before, and you guys just are watching a show. You're just watching and you're making comments on them. And some of the things I agree with, some things you don't understand my perspective. So that's kind of how Survivor works when people on the show. So I appreciate it as well. And I'm just happy to have a discussion and try and just give my point of view.
I found it really interesting how you were hanging on to the Byron vote because and the reason why I highlighted that and zoomed in on it is because it's the complete opposite to me. I tend to let things go because I know that from my own point of view, if I'm bringing up little bits and pieces, people are going to look at me more, right? Whereas you had the balls to keep bringing this argument up that I thought was just so adverse to how I play, and that's why I noticed it so much. And it's just it's from that.
And that's fine. And that's probably one of my limitations is I would maybe other people would just be like, just let that go because it's not that important. But I just need to I need to trust people. I need to.
There's
I need
no
to
right or
understand.
wrong answer though. I think it might be an oversight on my own thing, letting certain micro things go, and the fact that you notice it and you have the balls to bring it to people's face, that's an interesting character dynamic.
Thanks.
Does anyone have any final comments for Adam?
Would you play again if given the opportunity?
Yes, I would.
Oh,
I like
what
the
would you do
intro Adam
differently?
session. You gave it some thought.
If there was
I have a
one
lot of
thing you could do
self-doubt, so-
differently, if it was steal the flint so you're not stuck making fire, what is the one takeaway from this experience?
I don't know. What could I have done differently? Okay, yeah. Probably in that 3-3 tribe. Yes, go with the game plan that we were planning on going, but make it look like to the other tribe that I am willing to work with them going forward so that if it didn't work, that they would save me over Chris.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. So
You look like the too strong, and too
when
OG
I'm all
Nesta.
in. Yeah. I'm not flexible. Yeah, I was quite just OG Nassau. Wasn't trying to, be as flexible as I could. But I just want to say I like the Jules arc, and I really liked how that was the way that I went out. In the end, she got me from the other tribe. She told Ash to pick Chris. And
She did get you from the other side. I just want to say thank you for
again, I
coming
didn't
on,
know that
Adam.
was happening. Yeah.
Yeah. just want to say thank you for coming on. You've been in this community longer than me. I remember seeing you as the alternate for Playing with Fire, sitting across from me. How long ago was this? 4 or 5 years? Or 5 years ago, maybe. Sitting across from me and looking pretty chill, to be honest. I guess because you were the alternate, you didn't think you were going to be playing. You looked really chill, and I felt out to the guy. I'm like, I don't like the vibe of that guy. I feel threatened by that guy. He has to go. I was actually like, ooh, if I can work with that guy, he's cool. I want to work with him. But if he's not giving me the right vibes when we start chatting, he's gone. But thankfully we didn't have to test that theory. I got to see you play out your dream here. Thank you for being part of Uncharted Waters, for coming on the OrcaPod, and for being a huge part of the Melbourne community for the last, 6-7 years.
Thank you. And I want to thank production for giving me the opportunity to play this incredible game. You really ramped up every part of the LRG experience, and I'm really feel so lucky to be part of it. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to play. And thanks for you guys for covering the show. It's extra entertainment for us after.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
And I have to say, you have a great jawline. I'm going to miss it. Mwah.
We're running back to that. All right. He does have he has the action movie jaw, as said by Mars in Confessional. And Mars knows he's a video editor. Okay, I'm just going to drop out the orcas, but they're there as the special guests to answer questions in TWIOLSH, everyone's favorite segment. Without further ado, let me bring in the host for this week's TWIOLSH. It's not Jules, which is a good thing because Jules doesn't let me play fast and loose with the rules. This host sometimes is a bit more flexible. Without further ado, let me bring in, we're talking about it all night, and she's here to host once again. Yanni, welcome.
Hello. Adam, sweet boy.
You can't talk about the show.
I know. My love for Adam is clearly across the board, so there's no spoilers there.
So we haven't been able to get a fresh TWIOLSH contestant this week. If you're one of the people watching live, what the fuck? You should be in here taking on me. I know I'm formidable. I'm undefeated on the season. I get it. You don't want to come on a TWIOLSH and get your ass kicked by CK, but it happens to the best of us, so don't worry about it. I think we have guests lined up for most of the season, but we were able
the
to
rest
not
of the
get
season,
someone.
yes, I have. The rest of the season, every episode should be covered unless somebody bails.
So, special guest this week is someone you've already been watching for the last hour and 13 minutes. That may not be as exciting as a fresh face, but I should say that when we do the live Orca drinks in Canberra, there are a lot of people there, and we did like a real great 3-on-3 team TWIOLSH. It was amazing. When we went to Backyard, I have to say the Perth people did not turn up the way the Canberra people did. The numbers were down. The bounty hunter stood me up. The numbers were poor. I didn't even spend the $1,000. $1,000 was on the bar, but we didn't even get to that amount of money because of the low attendance. But and Kyle had arranged some questions, some great questions to do the live TWIOLSH, which we didn't bother doing because it just didn't feel right in the vibe and the amount of people we had. But ultimately, at the end of the night, I did do these questions with the man, the myth, the legend, Sam, Get on the Beers from season 1 in attendance to watch, and his girlfriend. That was it. But it was an epic battle between myself and the Orca of Backyard 4, Josh. So Josh will be taking me on tonight, for those that find that exciting.
Hello, darling.
And he did beat me. These were incredible questions, and he did beat me. It was all Backyard. Of course, he knows Backyard better than he knows the rest, but he did beat me.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I thought you were going to leave that out.
To his credit, when he loses, he does own it. I will give CK the credit. When he doesn't, it doesn't happen often, but when he loses, he will own it.
Does he? I thought he's still saying he's robbed from Melbourne 3.
I don't think
Who knows why he lost? Who knows why he didn't do well?
I had zero chance of winning Melbourne 3. In my fanciful world, where I get to the end as some sort of hate goat who thinks he's going to win because he's so into himself. Maybe I'm there with Kate and Tash or something. It's my dream outcome. I get one vote, and we all know where that one vote's coming from. But I'd be happy with my one vote in the final 3. But that's, they had no chance of winning that season. There's no way I get any more than one vote. No chance.
I'd give
From
you
anyone
a
in that.
vote on the jury.
Yeah, from anyone that was
Maybe
in the
get 2.
merge. Who else is voting for me, do you think?
Oh no, she wasn't at merge, so never mind. I was about to say, I wasn't there.
I get
Fine.
Max's vote, and that's it, all right?
Yeah, Max
Now,
is great,
TWIOLSH, we all know the rules. We played before. Jules went over them last time really well. Let's go, Josh. You can pick season first. Do you know the seasons you can choose from? Surely you do.
Yeah.
Let me
Backyard
remind you.
4. Can I pick that? Yeah.
Yes, you
You
can.
can pick Backyard 4, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. The challenge had players collecting fish, going under nets, and having water thrown on them. It ended in a fish puzzle. Which 2 players were on the puzzle for the yellow tribe?
Oh, of course. My queens. That was the swap tribe I was on. The challenge that I sat out. Hated the look of that challenge. Was a disgrace. It was my queens, the 2 Rachels, Rachel Fu and Red Rachel, Birak Rachel,
and
Fu.
Fu, correct.
My queens, yeah.
Well
Yay.
done.
I would not have got that right. Would not. All I remember is one team being really behind, and then Matt C trying to bring it back by being elite. And for some reason, people are throwing water on people as they run through it. I don't know. It was a weird challenge. And then you got fish and chips after. You got those fish and chips, Josh. Were they good? Were they cold and soggy?
No, I don't know if this is well known, but I was too nervous to eat during the game. I had 1 chip and that was it. I literally did not eat the whole time. That was about it. Genuinely. I know
the feeling. Sometimes you want a banana and then you don't want the banana. It's all good. Everyone
look, if certain bananas were on the menu, I may have indulged, but not in that context.
Not with fish.
Not those sorts of bananas. Okay, let's. I will go to playing with fire, of course.
Of course.
See how hard Jules has made it this week for me.
In Rosie's final words after being voted out, she referred to a blog post from Jeff Probst where he talked about which US Survivor player.
Jesus fucking Christ. Somebody, it's going to be someone lovey, emotional, hippie, connect with the vibes people about Survivor being vibey and emotional and positive. And I hate to do this because it's such a coward's way out, but I'm going to need the multiple choice.
Multiple choice? Okay. You have Corinne Kaplan, Courtney Yates, Jerry Manthey, or Natalie White.
None of them really align with what I was saying, but it's flashing back to me that the answer is Jerry.
It is Jerry. 1 point for you. Very well done. All right, Josh, you have Warren Diet, you have Melbourne Mystery Box, you have Backyard 5, and Canberra vs. the World.
And the orcas are available to you for one phone a friend if you need them, of course.
Oh, of course. I'll do Backyard 5.
Backyard 5. All right. The immunity challenge was 3-way idle hands. Who was the only player to win multiple points?
I think that was. Oh, do I want to do do I want to phone a friend? Or should I be cocky? Okay, I'm going to be cocky. It may stitch me up. I believe it was the Statue of Liberty, which was Tarkan.
It was Tarkan. Very well done. Yay.
That was Marc's nickname, by the way. Credit to you, Marc.
I'll take. Give me Warren Diet.
Warren Diet. Who said in their voting confessional, "You're good at the game of Ninja, but I'm better at Survivor"?
Voting confessional. I thought this was the tribal council that's lost time. How is that made? Oh, do they have the voting confessional bits? All right. So this is the tribal council where Calvin has 2 idols, and is flashing them around, but doesn't ultimately play them. We've got a group of Vince, Nick, and Calvin voting on one side, and then the other group are splitting. That's Nat, Ingrid, Jason Muscles, and who else is there? And what's the quote?
You're good at the game of Ninja, but I'm better at Survivor.
What is this ninja? Who is this ninja? What am I missing here? Who is this ninja? Who's the game of Ninja? Come on, I'm allowed to talk it through. Shush. Okay, I'm just gonna. Oh, sorry. Let's. I don't freaking know. Let's go. Who would say something about that? I'm gonna go. Calvin.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Josh, who do you want to guess?
To be honest, Warren Tite is like one of my least remembered seasons. What am I? If I get it wrong, do I lose points?
No, you just get 1 point. You can't have the multiple choice though.
Oh, I can't have multiple choice. Okay.
So I did name everyone in the tribe, so if you're paying attention.
Was that a pre-merge or was that merge?
I gave you War and Peace list. If you weren't paying attention, that's on you.
No, I was, but
I can only give the questions. I can give no further information.
Okay, I have to make a choice. Look, it sounds like a bit of a question with banter. I don't think that many people had great banter. I think you didn't mention Tara, so she wasn't there giving banter. You didn't mention Jake. Was he the guy who was on the season? It might be him. I don't know. I'm just gonna say I don't know, Jason Muscles, because he was good looking.
Incorrect. It was Nick.
There you go.
Oh, is that Rancy?
No, it's Jake's secret boyfriend who came second.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh,
the one who like lived in the bush.
What?
The one who like lived in the bush somewhere, and he slept in his car or something.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Though I think it was all a lie. He and Jake were probably cozying up in a hotel room the night before, and they had to pretend they came from different places to lie their way to victory. Anyway, Josh, do you want the Melbourne? You are currently beating me 4-1. It's going to be very hard for me to come back here. Is it 4-1?
4-1.
Oh, okay. Rooting
because you got both yours correct, and CK got the multiple choice, so 1 point, and then missed that one. So
do you want the Melbourne mystery box?
Have so you have Melbourne mystery box, and then you have Canberra vs the World, which you also have an orca to pull into play should you choose.
Look, I'm sorry, CK. I know you would love me to like spoon feed you, but I'm gonna go for one of my favorite seasons, Canberra vs the World 3. I mean, Canberra 3 versus the World, yes.
Canberra vs the World?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
At the second tribal council of the episode, who did Eden say told him they were going to vote for him?
The episode.
I
can't even remember when they did a double episode, like a double boot. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask Lars. Phone a friend.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes. At the second tribal council of the episode, who did Eden say had told him they were going to vote for him?
When was your double boot episode, Lars?
By the way, this is a shame on you, Josh, for not knowing when this episode is. Shame on you. It's an iconic episode.
Was it like was it the pre-merge? one? When was it? And when Anthea went home, was that a double episode?
This is the I Hate Men episode. Taking up my space on the plane, telling me how to do my hair at work.
Oh, well,
This is this
okay,
episode.
Oh,
so
when Bethany
we
and Loz
took out-
had their chat.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
took out John. So who would have told Eden that
Probably John.
I mean,
was the
was
older
John?
guy.
John would have told anybody anything, probably, but which is maybe why he flipped. So maybe John had said to Eden that he was going to vote him out.
You also have
And-
multiple choice if you want it.
It has to be
Well,
John. Who else could it have been?
Yeah.
Because
I don't
Yeah.
think we should allow multiple
No, the
choice when
Todd-
we've done the
Todd
phone a friend.
wouldn't have said it.
Play fast and loose with the rules like you wanted.
Eddie McGuire and Sam Smith. You couldn't phone a friend and go the multiple choice removal on Millionaire. It's outrageous.
Yeah,
Is
no
John
one
your
Yeah,
else
Loz,
answer?
she knew this. Loz was on this tribe. She was literally
Can't be
there.
anybody else other than John on our tribe at that point.
Yeah.
Locking you in?
Yeah, I'm gonna lock
Go with the
in
expert.
John.
Okay.
Loz,
So
you're
let's assume it's
cancelled.
not Loz and it's not Bethany. I'm pretty sure it's Ed.
Is that your answer?
It's Ed.
It was Ed.
Oh, yes.
Ed,
Now,
I'm seeing
I can
him on
tie
my
it up.
screen.
I can tie it up here with the Melbourne Mystery Box. Let's go.
And it's playing with fire too.
Okay, rigged.
Not rigged. I don't put this together. You could have picked Melbourne and completely won the game here. And if you don't get this, CK, there'll be something seriously wrong.
Okay, that's
Who
good
had a
news.
confessional this episode that began with them jumping off a rock and saying, "I have a story for you"?
This is Chloe's confessional.
There was Chloe.
All right. What is the
We have time.
tiebreaker? I understand we've been vetoed from the
Not doing that again.
name the boot thing because it wasn't the best television, despite it being a pretty epic showdown, mostly myself and John. What are we doing for the tiebreaker, Danny?
I have a tiebreaker question.
Is it a number one? Because when we do those, normally we have to DM you our answer.
Yes, it is a number one.
So we have to DM Danny our answer.
Okay.
So Ash and myself became 2-time LRG players this season. How many other people have played multiple times?
That have had seasons released. But we're not talking about seasons that may have been played that haven't been aired.
I believe these are all aired.
Okay.
Okay. You better not be on the Wikia, CK.
I'm writing out all the names to
Yeah.
Danny. That's what I'm doing.
I was giving me the proof.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it too.
Oh, well, will you now? It's going to be fascinating television. I have to give us a countdown at some point because I'm still doing it, but we got to make this at least somewhat entertaining.
Yeah. And I can't even riff off about this season because I am not allowed to.
You can rip off briefly while you do this. This is your chance to rip off. Give us some entertainment while we do this. This is your chance. Give me a carte blanche. Talk about what's happening today.
Need to go.
No, I'm giving you
Mark's
permission.
throwing
There
us
you go.
up in the background. He needs to go. So let's I'm going to give you 20 more seconds.
Mm,
I'm also just very happy
Oh.
that you're interviewing me this season. I'm loving the amount of content. I love that you talk about me. It's very Olga-esque.
You can bring up some
And I'm
comments
very,
if you
very
like, Danny.
curious. Oh, I go through the comments.
There's been
Can't talk about
There's been
myself.
some comments. There's comments I haven't seen.
Liz, go Josh. And Liz may have actually beat you this week, she
Thank
thinks.
you.
CK, she said, actually knew these ones. And shame on you for CK for not knowing about the ninja. So,
I've erased Nick from my memory.
all right, it's
Just like
time.
he's been erased from
Send me now.
Send it
Okay.
to her.
I'm scared.
I wonder if I
I'm
missed
going to
any.
count the name.
I put the number under it. It's up there. I did the names and the number.
I know Josh didn't.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You remain undefeated, CK. You were the closest number here. The correct number was 14.
What?
So I had
And
John,
not
Keegan.
including Ash and myself.
Oh,
Andrew,
I didn't
Calvin,
include you.
Kiara, David, Emily, Holly, John, Kath, Keegan, Mark, Mel, Mitch, Rosemary, and Tara.
I missed everyone
my
from your season, George. I have everyone else, but I missed
I
the
missed
three
them all
first-
too. What the fuck? Why did I miss that? Oh my
I
god.
got it
Oh
written
my
down.
God,
Okay.
Josh, you came so close.
I had 9, not including. I think I only missed them and Rosemary.
So John, Keegan, Ma, Mitch, Tara, Mel, Calvin, Ash, Danny, Emily, Rosemary, Andrew, and then those three.
Oh, and I forgot Calvin as well. How did I forget Calvin?
You feel Calvin.
Thank God.
Well, that was an epic battle. Thank you, Danny, for being with us live for another epic battle of TWIOLSH. We'll see you soon. I'm going to remove you. I'm going to bring back the Orcas to celebrate my victory. Another great victory, Loz. You couldn't help out Josh with that.
I'm sorry, Josh.
Wow.
Brava,
Loz,
CK, brava. I love when Josh loses because it's just like another thing I don't have to listen to when he comes over.
Yeah, fair enough.
No.
It's a battle of redemption for me after he beat me on that thing. Okay, before we close out, I need to know from you who is the Orca of the episode. So far, we have had Nat, Hannah. Anyone help me? Danny, Nat, Hannah,
We gave
Danny,
Greg
and
one.
Greg.
Greg.
So those are
Greg.
the four. Those are the four. Then we can obviously give someone an Orca again that haven't got them. But Josh, give me a candidate. You're going to give me a candidate. Josh, who's your candidate for this episode? Quick and sharp.
Oh God.
Okay, next.
I
Mark,
have
who's your
one.
candidate?
Jules.
Okay,
Jules.
Loz.
Jules,
Josh,
yeah. Jules is my
Yeah.
candidate for her Boston Rob move.
Yeah.
Mark.
I've got 2. I've got Danny for telling Greg that he needs to fuck off. I thought that was all her energy. But also KK for getting her way.
She did slay. Wait, I gotta go. 1 sec.
But I don't
me,
think it was
it's-
Orca. She just got her way though.
I love Danny's. Greg's got to fuck off, and we only get from Jules that he's too arrogant, which isn't as Orca. But this is the second time Jules has tried to strong arm Ash this season. Ash earlier in the comments did not like that I described it as strong arming because I think Ash would say that she can't be strong armed and it's just her own strategy and that there was symbiotic strategies going on. But notwithstanding, Jules has managed to get her number 1 ally by pushing it on Ash, and keep her number 2 ally in Chris by getting him safe, and has potentially set up an opportunity to save him with the idol. You guys don't think she'll do it? We'll have to wait and see. But she's set up that opportunity, and Ash has somewhat fallen into a trap there, whereas Jules may not have shared the idol. So I think we have to go Jules on this episode.
I
Are you all right
agree.
with that?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I like that. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. What's going to happen? We'll finish off next week. If they don't merge, okay, Josh, we're going through you. Okay, Loz, they don't merge, and the Sow goes to Tribal Council. What's happening?
I think it'll be an upset. I think I'm going to throw it out there. I think Greg is gone. If Nassau goes to Tribal next week, I think Greg is cooked. Stick a fork in him. He's done.
Josh, if Tortuga go to Tribal and there's no merge.
Oh, that's an easy one.
Yeah, it's got to be Chris, unfortunately.
And there's no idol play?
Well, no one has an idol unless Jules hands it over.
No, not
True.
happening.
If there really, to be honest, Jules is that smart of a player. If there really is like no merge, there's 2 separate immunity challenges, and they're like, yeah, Jules, your tribe has won. Maybe she does hand it over. You never know, because then it has to 100% be the merge next.
It could also be a thing where she feels guilty that he survived so many rounds without it, and then she's like, "Here you go, finally."
Yeah.
And Mark, a more tricky question for you. They merge. What is going to happen in that episode?
If it's a merge, I actually wouldn't be surprised. I think Greg will come under heat, but I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron takes the hit.
Yeah,
at
I
a
think
merge.
Aaron is the. Yeah, I agree, Mark.
Because more
The
people would be
sacrificial
willing to
merge.
put Aaron up, even though people will be off on Greg. Aaron will be the one where they're just like, no one is going to say no.
Safe. All right. I love your perspectives, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We got an episode on Sunday, and then we will be a bit earlier in the week, Monday or Tuesday, just because Wednesday is Christmas Eve. We've not discussed that, but we will get a time frame up for all of you to be coming in. I think we've planned Tuesday, but we'll make sure it works for everyone. We are
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. We will be covering, we'll be with you. And then the show goes on a bit of a break for a couple of weeks, and we'll be back in January when the show returns. Thank you to everyone who has been here live, participated in the comments. Here we go. Yes, we know she didn't strong you, blah, 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 right? Look, we're giving it to Jules. You have your turn.
Rah.
She initiated the swap conversation. Well, that's fine. Maybe we should have given you the orca that week. Ash, sorry. All right. Okay. So, Ash, your time will come, I'm sure. Maybe next week we'll have to see if you can make it to the orca pantheon of the season so far, the Bromelo medalist. Now, we will be back in January. Oh, back next week. I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank you to everyone who was here live in the comments. Thank you to everyone that appeared live. Thank you for Danny. Sorry, you keep putting this stuff up and ruin my flow. Sure, you don't want it. Thank you to Danny for coming on and hosting. Thank you for Josh for trying to take me on. Thank you for Loz for not giving him the right answer for a tribal council you were a part of. And thank you to everyone who's listening after the fact. We love having you here live. We love that you listen after. And we know who you are because, you know, you're on the podcast and you're downloading stuff and you're liking and subscribing. Sorry, that's all over Loz's face. But you're liking and subscribing. We will see you next week. And until then, we shall dance.